It is Saturday morning cartoons. The last Saturday morning cartoon, I believe, in for 2024. Anyway, sorry I'm a couple minutes late here this morning, but I've already been out and about. I hope you're enjoying these days of limbo between Christmas and New Year's, and that you're having a little chance to relax before the big New Year's Eve uh, festival. I say that in the Star Trek sense. You here for festival, eh? Got a place to sleep it off? Anyway, uh, if you're sort of in the magical subculture, you most likely have a bunch of friends and perhaps yourself uh, that have a magic motto. Frater Wizard knows, or Frater this or Frater that, Frater ERO, Frater Father NOX, Soror Babylon, stuff like that. Okay, now it's easy for us to uh, sort of be cynical about the presumptuousness or the apparent presumptuousness of another person's magic mottos. But don't, okay? No matter how absurd it may seem to you, no matter how pretentious, pompous, it's none of your goddamn business, number one. Secondly, that's sort of the purpose of a magic motto. It's, in a sense, it's identifying with the very highest thing you can think of at the moment. But more importantly, it is a name by which you would have a god or an archangel or an angel or a spirit know you, name you, call you, discuss things with you. If your idea of the highest singularity taking the form of Ganesha, what would you want Ganesha to call you? Because that's, at the moment, who you identify as being you. Magical mottos are important. And so don't be quick. Okay, I know it's a pain in the ass, especially when you belong to occult orders and organizations, and you forget who is who. You know that person is your friend Leroy over there, you've known for years and things like that. But when Leroy changes his motto and signs a paper or signs a letter or is referred to as being an officer in this or that ceremony, you don't know who the fuck they are. Who's that? And the fact that every time you change an initiatory degree, I mean a personal initiatory degree, you say, I'm ready for a new motto because this is who I now know that I am. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to read what I wrote about magical mottos, or at least part of what I wrote about magical mottos. Halt, who goes there? Now, if you're in a vision and you really want the entity, the vision entity anyway, to know exactly who it is you are, under no uncertain magical terms, you give them your motto. Anyway, I'm lucky. I like my regular name, Lon Milo DuQuette. I use it all the time. Okay. I like my name right up until the time my father died. He insisted I never change or even alter the spelling of my name. You'll notice I keep the capital Q. As a child, I complained to him about Lon Milo being so weird and different. No, you have a magic name, he insisted. And he wasn't a magical guy at all. Okay, he's a Freemason, but he's pretty much an agnostic-y, unmagical, unspiritual guy on the outside. You have a magic name, he insisted. Don't ever change it. Don't even change the spelling or capitalization. Dad certainly wasn't a Kabbalist or a mystic, and I'm not sure how he was defining the word magic. But he was very serious and insistent. Your given name is profoundly magical. Your name is the magical incantation that evokes you. Think about it. The sound of your own name brings you alive to the awareness of yourself. When you're in a public place or a room full of people and you hear your name being called, what happens to your mind? I'm here, you say in your soul. You remember who you are. You identify yourself to yourself. You acknowledge your presence, your life, your existence. The sound of your own name wakes you up. And that's precisely what a magic motto should do. If you already have a magical motto, you might consider coming up with a new one. Go ahead, don't be shy. Think about renaming yourself. Make it something that sounds cool and perhaps a little pretentious. The best magical motto is a word or phrase that represents your current understanding of the universe and reality, or expresses the loftiest goals and aspirations you have right at this moment in your spiritual evolution. As time passes, you grow wiser and more insightful. You'll most likely want to trade in the old motto and choose a new one, new and improved one that more accurately reflects your increased level of enlightenment, not to mention your expanding capacity for pretense. So, are you ready to start pretending you know who you are? Then get serious or very silly for a moment and think of the absolute highest concept or aspiration you can dream up. It doesn't have to be short. Go ahead, name yourself Frater. All the power in the universe is inside my head. And you would abbreviate that to Frater ATPITUIIMH. Or Soror, the archangels grovel and bow down to my awesome coolness. TAGABDTMAC. Or Frater, I don't care what you think about my tie, I'm going to wear it. Okay, you'll probably want to choose something less silly than these examples, but don't worry about it sounding too audacious, corny, or pretentious, because chances are anything you think of right now will be profoundly inadequate. For the time being, however, you just have to be temporarily comfortable with identifying yourself with that word or statement. Just pick a motto, stick to it until you outgrow it. I can always tell when Constance has changed her motto. A new little sign appears suddenly in the kitchen on the altar of our refrigerator door. Oh, and I even have a picture of that old refrigerator door. Fruitless love and aimless toil, and I am finished, and a couple other of her mottos. Her first motto was beauty, growth, balance. A few years later, she became Sister So What. For years after that, she simply identified with the number 83. because something she read in Aleister Crowley's essay on numbers, where he wrote 83 is consecration, love in its highest form, energy, freedom, amrita, aspiration. The root of the idea of romance plus religion. Fruitless love and aimless toil was the next motto appearing on the refrigerator door, followed a couple of years later by this disturbingly profound and oddly capitalized I with a small I, and everything else all caps, I am finished. Presently she is glory to God. My first attempt at a magical motto wasn't a motto at all, but a number. My father's admonition never to change my name got me thinking about the Kabbalistic virtues inherent in the letters of my own name. I converted them straight across to their Hebrew equivalents, and I've got Lon Milo DuQuette is 444. Okay. There are other ways to use Hebrews to spell out Lon Milo DuQuette, but to me this was the simplest and most straightforward rendering of my name. It was, I thought it was cool looking like a poor man's 666. Okay. My first formal magical motto was in 1976 on the occasion of my reception as an AA probationer under the mentorship of Phyllis Seckler McMurtry at the time. Phyllis Seckler McMurtry. I chose for my motto a phrase incorporated by the initials of my name. I'm still listening to my father there, okay? LMD. I chose 3 words, and I chose French to be pretentious. Liberty, mastery, dignity. To further my magical pretensions, I thought it'd be extra elegant if I said it in French. Liberté, maîtrise, dignité. LMD is also the full spelling of the Hebrew letter Lamed. And now I'm Lamed Ben Clifford. Even my bishop's name is Tau Lamed, which is traditionally assigned to the tarot trump Justice, traditionally. I felt my life could use the balance and discrimination that card represents. 1 year later, when it came time for me to advance to the grade of neophyte, I had grown more thoughtful and perhaps a little less pompous. The ordeals and challenges of my probationary year had humbled me a bit, and my quest had become seriously personal and almost painfully simple. What was becoming for me an increasingly complex universe, I realized that my only refuge, my only defense, my only protection, my only hope for survival, my only hope for eventual self-mastery rested in my ability to make and keep my spiritual aspirations innocent and pure as possible. I chose the motto, purity of aspiration. Again, I rendered the phrase in French, pureté de l'aspiration. My subsequent mottos were Hoath Yada, true worshipper of the highest in Enochian. Perhaps my favorite motto, and the one I thought might last me for the duration of this incarnation, was Adeo Sat Bene, Latin for so far so good. 2 years ago, at the time I wrote this anyway, I accepted a new motto. Only love is. Nostalgically, I returned to French. Sur l'amour est. Before we go any further, I'd like you to pause now and settle the matter of your magic motto. If you already have a motto, fine. If you don't, I want you to create one right now. I'll wait. Got it? Good. Now I want you to use your new motto to formally give birth to yourself. I'm serious. Do you think you can become a magician just by reading about it? No. You actually have to do stuff yourself. Stuff that nobody else can do for you. Sorry, this is your show. In order to give birth to yourself, you'll need to be your own mother, father, midwife, and baby. So please listen up. To illustrate their condition of spiritual blindness, candidates for initiation are, or at least have been since time immemorial, first blindfolded or hoodwinked and bound hand and foot at the beginning of the ceremony. This is obviously a disturbing and uncomfortable position to find oneself in, and that's exactly why it's done. It's supposed to be disturbing and uncomfortable. Before initiation, we dwell in darkness, blind to the light of the greater reality that is enjoyed by the more spiritually enlightened. The candidate is unable to move forward effectively in his blind and ignorant state, unable to help himself or herself, let alone others, while in this sorry condition. As the ceremony proceeds and the hoodwinked candidate travels or is led around the temple or lodge room and is taught certain lessons. Eventually, the candidate grows in knowledge and wisdom. The fetters are gradually removed. And the climax of this part of the initiation ceremony is when the hoodwink is removed and the candidate is brought to light. But before this supreme moment, the candidate must first take an oath. It's a scary thing being obliged to take a solemn oath in a ceremony like this. After all, you're making some very serious promises to people you can't even see while being tied and completely at their mercy. In a temple or lodge room ceremony, the candidate must do a little soul searching. Pragmatically, it's clear that unless he or she goes ahead and takes the oath, the initiation won't continue. The blindfold will stay on and he or she will be removed from the initiation chamber and sent back into the outer darkness. Almost always, that's why your fee is collected in advance, okay? The blindfold will stay on and he or she will be removed. Okay. Almost always the candidate dutifully proceeds to repeat the oath, no matter how it is worded, because in truth, he or she is mildly confident that nothing too bad will happen. But unless you read ahead, you're not sure exactly what you're going to promise in the oath that you are now about to take. But hey, don't you trust me? I hope you said no. Come on, even though you think it's silly, take the first step in your homemade initiation. It's disarmingly easy, and it'll only take an eternal moment. Start by taking a deep breath and pretending you're in the presence of the supreme intelligence of the universe, because you really are. Now recite the oath out loud with full magical intent. Then, if you don't see anything in the oath you object to, sign it right here in this book using your new magical motto. If you don't like this oath, cross it out and make up another homemade oath. Then recite and sign that. And here's the one that I offer as an example. I, sur le moreste, in the presence of all I hold sacred, I do hereby accept absolute responsibility for my own condition of darkness and ignorance, and solemnly acknowledge and declare that ultimately only I can bring myself to light. There, wasn't that easy? It has only taken you countless incarnations, plus the number of years, days, hours, and seconds of this current life to get to this moment. Congratulations, the hardest part is over. Well, that's it for Saturday morning cartoons. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully, for Sunday school. Until then, have a great weekend. Do what you can to help yourself and to help others. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. And do what you can to bring yourself to light.